Hey, right now, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to picture the whole world gray. No colors, everything gray. From the single blade of grass to the sky to us, to dogs, to cats, to every animal, every creature, everything gray. Yeah, it's pretty boring, isn't it? Good thing our God is simply not boring and very creative. When I first heard this, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, how would things run? How would things function? And the person said, but that's the thing, Jenny. Everything would still work exactly how it's working right now. It'd still be just as efficient. It would still function the way it's supposed to. Everything and everyone would be exactly how it is right now. And it got me thinking, like, wow, like, I've never thought about that. I've never thought about how when God created the universe, He created it one from His imagination. He brought forth creativity and He made it real. He's the true creator, the first craftsman. And then, instead of leaving it bleak and bland, He gave it color. He used His creativeness and gave it beauty. And it's just so beautiful thinking about that. And without going too deep down the philosophy of beauty rabbit hole, if you ever get the chance to take a class in college, it's beautiful. But to simply put it, beauty is not merely in the eye of the beholders, us. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, God. So what we may perceive to be beautiful or beauty, God's like, no, I perceive it much differently. So even if we may not call something beautiful, He's up there saying, no, it's beautiful. The second thing this points out is our God does not simply care about efficiency and functionality. He also cares about the beauty. And the third thing, as God's creation, we are called to be creative. How do I know this? How do I know that every single one of us, even those who are watching and saying, I'm not creative, how do I know you are? Well, because we're made in the image and likeness of God, right? So that means we are like God. We are not God, but we're like Him to a limit. And that goes into everything. So God is love. We too are love and capable of love, but not to the extreme as God is, but to a limit we are. Because of our humanity, it makes it so there's only a limit. And just like God is creative, we too are creative. And creativity has been visible throughout the whole Bible. Starting with the very first book in the Bible, Genesis. God gives Adam a task, and this task is to name all the animals. God commands Adam to give all these animals names. It takes a creative mind to come up with these names for all these different animals that God is putting in front of him. It's not easy. If you ever tried to name something, it's hard because you want to get the right name. So it takes creativity to come up with name. Next, I'm gonna butcher the name, so look at this awesome name right here. Him and his sons gave the temple decor. They were the first interior designers of a temple. Like, come on, that's pretty cool. And that took creativity. A big one that's even used still to this day are instruments. Instruments for worship music. And it doesn't just end in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, dude, Jesus is like creativity. He first was a carpenter, and this means like he had to like create things and do measurements like a carpenter. Awesome. Next, when he was out on mission and he was teaching, he used parables. Okay, so he would take the original parable but then add his own little twist. So the parable that I like the most is the prodigal son parable. So that first part of the whole parable is actually a traditional parable in the Jewish culture. But the end, and when the father is running out to the son from that part, that's when it's different. That's when Jesus used his creativity in the parable. It's so awesome. And then another one that I think everyone kind of wonders if they have read the Bible and they've gotten to this part when Jesus stops this lady from getting stoned. He crouches down in the sand and he draws a picture. It doesn't say what he what he wrote in the sand, what he drew. I challenge you to use your creativity in that moment of what do you think he could have drawn or said in that sand. Being creative is so important, especially in this day and age. Creativity, beauty, art, everything that is gonna be what transforms and evangelizes this culture. It's gonna be what brings and attracts people in. So I am challenging you. Whatever your creativity is, whether it's writing, whether it's studio art, painting, drawing, sculpture, or playing an instrument, or being a carpenter, maybe it's interior design, maybe it's telling stories, or whatever takes effort to make something move us more deeply with beauty or with wonder, or touches our soul in showing us that there's something more to life. Do it. Offer it to the world so everyone can see that our God doesn't simply care about efficiency and functionality, but that he craves for the beauty that's inside of each and every one of us. In challenging you to be more creative and using your creative gifts, I also am accepting this challenge. But for me, my creativity is expressed through my art. And for me, my art comes from inspiration of people's favorite Bible verses or quotes. So if you would like your personalized J Hills art, which I would love to do, I want you to comment below your favorite Bible verse and or a favorite quote, and from there we'll have a conversation. But anyways, peace out my homies and stay holy.